What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 12. And we're doing this one over again because we did it once and then we had to stop in the middle of it for an emergency. And now we've changed our rankings, and Mike Haber's available for it because it was just me and Jason. So let's do this one all over again for the first time. Tonight, joining me first from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, Mets got themselves some new coaches here. Eric Chavez for a hitting coach. I really like that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Eric Chavez, Joey Cora at third base. I'm really excited for this entire coaching staff under Buck Showalter. I'm interested to see who's going to become their bench coach.
Right,
that's going to be big. But right now, I'm excited. There's a good mix of analytics, and then you got Buck Showalter, who's kind of the more seasoned veteran guy, But so I think there's going to be a good mix on this team, and I'm excited for it.
I'm hoping that Buck Showalter's time away from the field gave him a chance to see exactly what the analytics department does. He worked for MLB Network for a while.
Exactly.
There's a lot of smart people there. I'm hoping that this rubbed off on him and that he can sort of be the godfather with a whole bunch of, 30-something to 40-something-year-old guys who just came out of baseball, like Eric Chavez. With us as well, joining us from northern New Jersey, Mike Haber. Mike, John Lester has called it a career after 16 seasons. You saw a lot of him in the AL East when he pitched for Boston. We'll send this guy off with a congratulations on your career. Hall of Fame career, Mike Haber?
I think so. I think we can call it a Hall of Fame career at this point. Part of two incredible franchises and turning them upside down, being a part of that 2015 Cubs team, being a part of what he did for the city of Boston and pushing through cancer and coming back and being an ace on a staff. This guy deserves it. How do you say no?
200 wins on his career, exactly. 2,400, almost 2,500 strikeouts. The thing that gets me is over 154 innings. He's got a 2.51 ERA in the postseason. I'll take that every day.
Yeah.
So, yes, our hats off to John Lester. Go enjoy your retirement, sir. And I wonder what he's going to do. I wonder if he'll become a pitching coach.
I could see it.
Right?
I could see it too.
Definitely. All right, let's get into the shortstops, and this is going to be a very interesting show, guys. For the most part, we see a lot of these guys the same. There are just a couple of very loud outliers. We agreed that 25 guys are all on our lists, and then we've got some other things afterwards that we'll talk about. But let's kick this thing off starting at number 1. It's 1.6 in our aggregate. It's Jason's number 1. Mike, you and I both have him at 2. It is Trey Turner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Jason, your number 1 overall shortstop. Tell us why.
Yeah. I think he's so dynamic. The power speed combo is there. He hit 28 home runs last year and stole 32 bases and hit 328. He is the total package to me. Doesn't strike out a whole lot, doesn't commit too many errors. He is what I would be looking for a top shortstop.
110 strikeouts in 595 at bats. That's pretty impressive. The 32 homers was right on par with what I think you would expect when you draft Trey Turner. The 28 home runs is a career high, 9 more than his previous high, and 77 RBIs, also a career high. The 328 batting average won the NL batting title. I can't fault you for wanting this guy at number 1. Mike Haber, we have him at 2. Why?
Look, this guy is a superstar, and if I get him in the fantasy draft, I'm going to be thrilled. But I look at the ceiling of the two guys that we have at 1 and 2, and I think Trey Turner just reached his ceiling this past year, and I would not be shocked if this guy didn't hit 20 home runs going into next year. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, like you said, his career high was what? 19?
It was 19 prior to this year. He hit 28. He is always a health concern, but here's the thing about these shortstops that we're going to talk about. There's a lot of them with that. Yes. So I think drafting the way you're talking about, Mike, with ceiling first, especially at this position it's really deep every single person comes with a question mark, right?
Mhm.
Every single guy comes with a question mark. Let's move on to number 2. And this one's going to be interesting. Mike, this is you and I. We have this guy at number 1. Jason, this is a conversation I just want to have Mike's reaction on. Mike, where do you think Jason has Fernando Tatis Jr. right now?
Without knowing anything, I
Right.
would have to guess second.
No.
Do I get another guess?
Yeah. Yeah.
Third.
No.
Fifth.
No.
Lower?
Yeah.
Seventh.
That was where he had him initially when we did the show the first time. And I pulled my hair out. He's now bumped him up to number 6. So the first question I have for you, Jason Ashby, is why did you move him up one spot? Who fell down the ranking?
It was, I believe it was Cory Seeger that fell down and bumped Tatis up.
Okay. Second, Mike Haber. How many players across Major League Baseball would you put ahead of Fernando Tatis Jr. that aren't shortstops?
1, 2 tops. I mean,
It's
I'm thinking-
Vlad
and Juan Soto, maybe.
Soto, maybe. I could see the argument for Trey Turner too. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a better hitter than Tatis ever will be.
Mm-hmm.
6, Jason, talk to us, man. 6.
It's, to me, I went into this, all these rankings that we've been doing. I'm going in the mindset of the bigs, of how I would draft him in the bigs. If you're asking me, is he the best shortstop in baseball? Like, not counting what our stats are in the bigs, sure, I could have that argument. But I'm looking at this as drafting him from the bigs, and I'm looking at his numbers from last year, and 153 strikeouts and 21 errors. Like, it's a lot to me. I know there's some other guys. I have one guy in particular that has more that have ranked higher in errors, but I don't know. I'm afraid of him. He had a shoulder injury towards the end of the season, so that's a red flag. I know he got some outfield eligibility, which is really great. I don't know. He scares me a little bit.
He had 120 fewer at bats than Trey Turner this past season, and he hit 42 home runs and stole 25 bases.
The thing is, power has never been Trey Turner's like when you think of Trey Turner, you don't think of power. So if he hits you 23, 24 home runs, you're going great. But he's also stealing you 32 bags, and he's hitting 328, and he's only striking out 100 times.
Now, here's the interesting thing about this for me, is these guys are both dual eligible this season. So Trey Turner comes with second base eligibility. Tatis is actually going to end up being triple eligible at short, center, and right. So, Jason, not only are you discounting Tatis despite the better power numbers, discounting Tatis for the errors and the strikeouts, but he also has triple eligibility where Turner only has dual, and you're penalizing. You can't even give Tatis that either. And so, and let alone, we're going to talk about the rest of the guys that go on in this list. Mike, pay attention here, because there's 2, 3, 4, and 5 ahead of him.
And I want to say one more thing about Tatis, that you put, okay, injuries happen, right? Everyone's injury prone, but you put both of them on the field. My first pick of the draft, in my mind, needs to be someone that if he's playing on the field, he can do literally everything. And yeah, Trey Turner had a career high in home runs, but to me personally, if he hits 20 home runs, that's not what I want for a number 1 overall pick. I want someone that can go 40-40 potentially. You know,
I think it's a foregone conclusion that if Fernando Tatis could put together a season of 155 or more games, we are looking at a 40-40 guy. Like yes, I will say that again, we have talked about every guy in this position having a question mark, and the health is one here with Tatis.
Yes.
That shoulder
Yeah.
is not good. But we talk about Trey Turner not having a modicum of health either. Let's move on to number 3. Guys, each one of us, all 3 of us across the board, have this guy at number 3. It's Bo Bichette. And the question about Bo Bichette is, I don't think anymore the question is like, is it real? I think the real question is like, again, the health. Because he put in 159 this year. Great. Do it again. Do it again, and then we can start considering you a very safe floor type guy. This past season, 298 average, 343 on base, 29 homers, 102 RBIs, 191 hits led the majors, and he scored 121 runs while stealing 25 bases. Yeah, this is a really, really good player. I don't think I'm saying anything that any of you guys would agree with, like, or disagree with. Like, we're kind of all on the same page. This dude's good.
Yeah, hitting atop one of the best liners in baseball.
Yeah. Okay. Let us move on to number 4 in our aggregate. Mike, you and I have this guy at number 4. Jason Ashby has this guy at number 2.
Ooh.
It is Marcus Semien. And Jason, even after the opportunity to re-rank your guys here, you're going with Semien in Texas this year as number 2. Why?
Yeah, and he did show some power speed combo to me last year with 45 home runs, 15 stolen bases.
Yeah.
Like, that's not nothing. He moved to Texas. I don't claim to know what that's going to do for him, but I think he's a good enough player where he can play anywhere. So, and we've seen he's had good seasons before. This isn't like an anomalous season. He had it in 2019. Say what you will about a possible juice ball, but he had a good season and he's been healthy. Look, he's played the last 2 full seasons. He's played every single game. I don't see anything. I don't see a problem with him. I don't see a hole in his game.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's going to be double eligible as well, second in shortstop here, going into an interesting situation in Texas. I think Texas is going to be one of those teams I don't know how this is going to shake out. I didn't know how their lineup was going to be going into last season. I guess I don't really know what this is going to look like going forward either, but it might be fun. It might not work. That ballpark is not made for power hitters anymore. It's made for pitching. Mike Haber, we like Marcus Semien, but we don't like him as much. You've got him at 4 as well. Is it a case of like we appreciate the fact that he is healthy almost every single year?
Yeah. I mean, and look at, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, he's still ranked 4th in our list, like, and ahead of some other superstars too. Like, we're admitting this is a great player.
Yeah.
And also, I would like to give credit for Jason using the word anomalous, because I'm really impressed with that. Well done. Good vocabulary.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
That's going on TikTok.
What scares me, the reason why he's not top 3 for me is, yes, the move to Texas, and the power speed is great. His batting average just didn't measure up with the other guys above him for me.
I can agree with that. And Mike, you and I have the same top 4, factually in the same order. Tatis, Turner, Bichette, Semien, top 4 shortstops. Like, totally on board. In fact, we'll move on to number 5 in our aggregate, and this is where things start to get a little hectic. I've got this guy at 6. Mike, you've got him at 8. Jason at 4. We're talking about Xander Bogaerts of the Boston Red Sox. Mike, you're the low guy on Xander Bogaerts. What about this player doesn't do it for you, and you cannot use the Yankee fan, well, he plays in Fenway?
You know me better than that. I'm not going to use that.
I do.
He had a down year last year. for someone who was drafted really, really high up in our league. I think he had a solid 2019, right? A really solid.
He had a very good
Very
2019,
good.
309 batting average, 33 homers, 117 RBIs, and 110 runs scored. This was a dude. And this year, 295 average, 370 on base percentage is really nice. Only 23 homers and 79 RBIs and 90 runs scored. But I think that speaks more to the fact that Boston, I don't know, they just have more guys in their lineup now. I'm in the middle of the two of you. Jason, you really like Xander Bogaerts. What are we missing here?
I do. And I don't know really. I wish he would run more, But the on base percentage is not a joke. And look, he's got pop. Plays on a dynamite lineup, right in the middle of it. He's 28. Doesn't strike out a lot. There's a lot to like about him. I wish he would run more. That would be the next level. But
I mean, he's not a nothing there. That's a plus.
I mean, he's finished in the top 20 MVP voting in each of the last 4 seasons. He's as solid as it gets.
He's great. I want to see where he's going in NFBC. I don't know that that's as high as I want him. I think the guys I have in front are here we go. ADP. Let's take a look here at shortstop. Right now, there are 126 drafts completed. This is always changing. Xander Bogaerts off the board as the 7th shortstop, so right in the range we're talking about here. 43, basically 44th off the board overall. That is back into the 3rd round. Feel good about that?
Yeah, I would take him there.
Yeah,
Mike?
I think I'd probably take him there too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that lines up. We'll move on to the next guy in our aggregate here. He is my number 9. Jason, he is your number 7. Mike, you like this guy, and I'm willing to concede that if he goes where you want him to go, I will move him up. It's Trevor Story, who is currently unsigned. If he goes to New York like you want him to, fine, I'll move him up. Tell me what you love about Trevor Story.
I mean, quietly, this guy was miserable last year playing in Colorado and still put up numbers that are, respectable for someone who didn't even want to be there. Still had a 2020 season. His batting average dropped a bit, but he's and his on base percentage dropped. But if he goes to New York, right, and he plays every day and he's happy and he's surrounded by other stars
and paid
and getting paid, I could see him returning to a potential of 25 or 30 potential.
Jason, you seem to like him at this spot as well. What's the best landing spot for Trevor Story, do you think?
From a fantasy perspective, I'm kind of looking at him going to a place where he may not play shortstop. There's been talks about moving him to either second or third base. And to me, if that happens, then he moves up the rankings a little bit because it gives him some more eligibility. The power speed combo is there. We talked about that. He's been one of the, swiftest guys on the base paths over the last couple of years. There was a decline, and his decline was worse than what you said Bogaerts' decline was. So that's kind of why he's a little bit further down the rankings for me.
Yeah, and for me, it's literally looking at the home road splits over his entire career in Colorado and going, he's hitting 60 points lower. He's getting on base 60 points lower. He's striking out almost 100 more times in 5 fewer games on the road. He has 34 home runs on the road. It's very evident that Coors has helped him. And unless he's going back there or to the Yankees, and that's literally the only other spot where I am confident I can move him up, I could definitely see him going. Look, if he goes to Houston, he probably just stays where he is. But there are a lot of places that he could go that I could move him down.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
We move on to the next guy, and Mike, I have to say, you and I have the top 5 guys in order. This is Jason. Where do you think Jason has Wander Franco?
Well, he told me before he's not in Jason's top 10, so I'm going to say 12.
No.
Lower? 14.
He has him at 13.
Okay.
I'm personally deeply offended at you. I have been thinking about this for so long when I see names on this list that you have ahead of Wander Franco. We love Bo Bichette. We love, well, 2 of us love Fernando Tatis Jr. as 2 of the top 3 guys at this position. And Mike, go with me on this, 2 of the top 7 players in baseball?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. With Turner being another one of those players.
Yeah.
But explain to me what a 20-year-old who had a 40-what game on base streak in his first 70 games after hitting like 1 something for a month. Tell me why this dude isn't real. I would draft this dude in the first round.
Wow.
Wow. I said it before, like, when we do this again next year, I could be saying, yes, he is top 5. But right now, I haven't seen it. Like, okay, the on-base streak is impressive, no doubt. But that doesn't make him a superstar. Like, I need to see it again and again and again. And I need to see it a couple of seasons. I need to see it, like, I can see Turner and Simeon and Bichette. I need to see that he can do it. 70 games is not enough for me to make him in my top.
It's only 281 at bats, right? That's all that we have on him. It's 70 games, like I said. But I'm going to go back to Bo Bichette here as an example because it wasn't that long ago that Bo Bichette was in this position. We had seen 60, 70, 75 games of this guy. And there were people who were adamant, Bo Bichette's going to break out. If Bo Bichette, if the season Bo Bichette just had is what Wander Franco had, yes, I'm all over it. And I think it would be better. I think the on-base percentage would be better. I think the batting average could be better. I'm all over it.
It certainly could be, but I need to see it in order for me to put him up there.
You know what I like about this guy? Being as young as he is, and it's the plate discipline numbers for me. It's the fact that this guy struck out 37 times in almost 300 at bats. Like, that's pretty incredible.
I saw a stat on Twitter. I showed you guys in the text message that we have. During that on-base streak, Wander Franco had as many hits as, what was it, swinging strikes? Like, not strikeouts, just swinging strikes.
Yeah.
He had as many hits. That is absolutely disgusting. And he's 20. I am on board this train unlike anything I've ever been aboard before.
And who did you compare him to, Joe? Because I like the comparison.
Juan Soto. This is Juan Soto at shortstop with speed. Yeah. Like, I could see him stealing 20 bags. Yeah. Right now, Wander Franco is going 54th in NFBC. It's a 9th shortstop off the board. 54th would be...
Was that round 4?
Middle of the 4th round. I would be thrilled if you could tell me that I would be able to get Juan Soto in the 1st and Wander Franco in the 4th. Give me the 2 best pitchers in between that, and I am set. Let us move on to number 8 here. Number 8, and we're all right around the same here. Mike, you and I have this guy at 7, so we have agreed on 6 of the top 7. Jason has him at number 9, and it is Tim Anderson. It's a pretty nice situation when you're able to get Tim Anderson because this guy is going to hit atop one of the best lineups in baseball. And if they go out and get a right fielder, it could be the best lineup in baseball. He's a batting champion. You know he's going to hit for a decent amount of power. Nothing that's outstanding here, and I think this is where there's a bit of a teardrop. You guys agree with me here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He for me, he is a start of the tier chop for me.
Yeah. I think there's I'm trying to look here because I think there's one more guy that we haven't hit on, and then the tier falls off. But I mean, this is I wouldn't mind having this guy as my starting shortstop.
No.
Tim Anderson right now, where is he going? He's going 36th overall, so he's going way back at the top. We're talking start of the third round. So he's going before Xander Bogaerts. He's going before Wander Franco by like a considerable margin.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'd feel comfortable drafting him early in the third round.
Early third, yeah.
He's had health issues, and again, like he does a little bit of everything, but not one thing is great. Like
if he put together a 150 game season, I think 2020 is a lock.
Yeah.
With 25 upside, the batting average will be great. The runs scored, like it's a travesty that this dude only has scored 94 runs as his career high, and that was last year. Like it is an absolute travesty because he can't stay healthy, and that's a concern. That's a concern. Again, everybody comes with a question mark.
Yeah.
The next guy we have here, this is an interesting one, Mike. I have him at number 10. You have him at number 9. This is Jason's number 5.
Whoa. All right.
Carlos Correa without a home. Jason, how much do you love this dude?
Yeah, I the more I looked at him, like, because I think I originally had him a little bit lower down, but like to me, he just kind of puts it all together. I know he doesn't steal bases, okay, but like, so he's not Trey Turner, he's not Bo Bichette, but he hits for power. He finally showed some health the last couple of seasons. Like I know some health issues were a problem for him early on in his career, but he stayed mostly healthy the last couple of seasons, and he put it together. He finished 5th in the MVP voting this year. Look, where's he going to go? He's going to command a high dollar amount, so he's not going to go to like Minnesota. He's not going to go to like he's going to go to a good team. I feel like he might go back to Houston. And again,
would that be a landing spot you'd like? Like, where's the best fit for you?
Yeah, I can see that. Look, I've heard whispers of the Mets jumping in on him and moving him to third base. Like, I'd be all over that. Mm-hmm. So there's a few places he could go to Colorado. And
I don't think Colorado's spending that money, but if he goes to Colorado, like I'm all over that bat though.
I heard they have money. From what I understand, they have money and they're ready to spend it. So I wouldn't count them out.
I hate Colorado. I hate
Colorado
pitchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, go spend like $280 million on Nolan Arenado and trade him 2 years later. Then let Trevor Story walk for absolutely $0 and 0 prospects and John Gray. Like, just let all of that go. And now you want to spend money.
Yeah.
No, you're full of shit.
But no,
that organization is folded.
There's a few places he could go to that I would be like, yeah, that's great. But I feel like he's the kind of guy who, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, he can hit.
So that does put a bow on the number of guys in front of Fernando Tatis Jr. on Jason's rankings. And this is the interesting one. Mike Haber, react to the fact, like, forget Correa for a moment, just in specifics, and talk about the fact that Carlos Correa over Fernando Tatis Jr.
I can't wrap my mind around anyone in fantasy baseball 2022 drafting Correa over Tatis. I can't see it. I guess we don't know where Correa is going to land, but for me personally, the only
place he's better than Tatis is on the moon. That's the answer. He's going to play baseball on the moon. I'll believe it. But I mean, Correa hasn't stolen a base since the Trump administration. Like, since 2019. It was the last time he stole a base. He's stolen 4 in the last 4 seasons.
All right, so Jason, let me ask you: let's say you're the 15th pick overall in the draft.
There you go.
Okay, Fernando Tatis is sitting there with his 40-40 possibility, And Carlos Correa is sitting
Is
there as
also
well.
sitting there, who at this moment is going 94th overall in NFBC. That
Tatis
is
is what?
the end of the 6th round.
And Tatis is what? Second? First?
Yes, he is 2nd overall.
I mean, honestly, like if I'm 15th, I mean, I'd have to see who else is there. I'm probably not taking either of them. I'm probably taking, a pitcher or, a second baseman. Because I just look, and I don't know what Tatis's injury status currently is. And right now we don't have, it doesn't look like we're having spring training. So, I don't know what that means. But that shoulder injury was not nothing. And I got screwed hard by taking George Springer last year when he was hurt. So I am paying close attention to injury guys, especially early in the draft.
Okay.
All right. Interesting. Just very, very interesting. And I think defending that as you did, I will give you credit for standing by your decisions here. We're going to move off of Carlos Correa. The next one here, myself and Jason have at number 8. Mike, a little bit further down on this guy, and I think I understand why. It's Cory Seeger. I think this would be a little bit more. You would like this a whole lot more if he were in pinstripes, and that Texas just doesn't. You don't like that fit.
No, I don't like that fit. I would have liked him better in Los Angeles. I would have liked him better in New York. Cory Seeker had a great season a few years ago. He had a great postseason. 2020 was an incredible season for him. But last year, I mean, yeah, he was hurt. He didn't play a lot. I don't think he's going to give you much more than, he'll hit for some power. He'll get on base. He'll hit for average. But like, I don't think this is a top 10 guy because I want my shortstop to run. I want him to hit for power. I want him to do a little bit of everything. Like third base, sure. If this was a third baseman, maybe he would be ranked a little higher for me. But shortstop, I want a speed guy. I want someone that can do a little bit of everything.
12 stolen bases in his career across 7 seasons. That is not running at all.
No.
Career 297 average. I do like that. I like the 367 lifetime on base percentage. Last year was incredible with a 394.
Yes.
The strikeout numbers are great. The walk numbers are tremendous. I just want to see him put it together for an entire season again because he's only ever played more than 135 games twice. And that was 2016 and 2017. Like he hasn't played 135 since. So show me that you're healthy. Show me that Texas isn't completely out of their mind for giving you this money. And show me a good season. Show me a good season. Right now, he's going off the board 75th overall. That is middle of the 5th round.
Still probably a little too early for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I think so too. The next one, oh goodness, guys, number 11 overall. My number 12, Jason, your final guy in your top 10, and Mike Haber, he's number 11 for you. Francisco Lindor. Where are we at with this guy? Mike Haber, let's start with you because you'll be the unbiased, not Met fan.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't believe it. He was great on Cleveland. He was consistent. Maybe he is one of those guys that can't handle playing in New York. Who knows? He's got a huge contract now. He knows he's going to get that money regardless. I don't know. I wouldn't honestly, I'm not going to draft this guy this year. I'm going to say that to you. But hey, prove me wrong. Go out there and have a 30-30 season. But
so here's my rebuttal, and I know we've talked about this, but in his first season in New York, Carlos Beltran hit 266 with 16 home runs, 96 strikeouts and 56 walks. Like that was not good. He came back the next year and hit 41 home runs and drove in 116 runs. There is something to be said about your first year in New York, first year on a big contract. And playing for Buck Showalter, I think, is going to do wonders for him as opposed to playing for Luis Rojas. There's a new excitement in New York. Like coming into last year, Lindor was the guy. Now there's a whole bunch of guys, and this team is just so much better from player personnel, coaching personnel. There's just it feels more rejuvenated. So I'm willing to give Lindor a second shot. Look, if he comes back this year and sucks again, but I'm willing to go on his past credentials and say that last year was an anomalous season.
Nice.
You used that word again.
Nice.
I kind of land in the middle on this, and yet I'm the low guy on Lindor at 12. Like, yes, I can see the Carlos Beltran 2005 comparison. I can see it. He had a bad year, his first year in Flushing, and I know as Mets fans we were like, great, we just signed up for another like garbage dude for the rest of eternity. I don't want that to be the case. I really don't. And the Met fan in me wants to see this dude succeed. I don't see a way I could move him above any of the dudes in front of him, though. Like, I've got one other guy that we haven't talked about in front of him. So every single person we've talked about, I've put in front of him. I don't see.
Here's one other thing. Last year, he spent a lot of time batting second. This year, he's probably going to be batting like third, which I think does a lot for him. He's according to Roster Resource anyway, or Fangraphs, he's got Brandon Nimmo and Starlin Marte hitting ahead of him. Like that's more run driving opportunity as long as everybody stays healthy. But last year he was batting second. Like who's he driving in? He's just driving in Brandon Nimmo. Like so, I think there's potential for him to have a really good. I'm not saying he's going to have a mega season. That's why I have him ranked 10.
Right.
I don't know he's going to.
Because they're so far for him to come back from on this season. Like 20 homers, 10 steals, 230 average. Like he has to come back so far to make any kind of like ground on where he used to be. And that was already 3 seasons ago, or 2 seasons ago now. 2019, he hit 32 homers, 22 steals. Like that's what he has to get back to. He is going currently at 49 overall. That is very start of the 4th round in the bigs.
I would take him there.
I would not.
I don't think I would either.
I think I could. The potential is there as long as he's healthy. The potential is
like
there.
if you've got the wheel, so you would have to have what the back end picks. So the 1-2 at like 15, 16, and then like Francisco Lindor here at the 3-4 turn. Would that, like, I could see it. I could see how it would work, but I wouldn't feel good about that. I don't think I'd feel good. Like, say the back end you get a pitcher and the best hitter available, and then you're coming back and doing the same thing again. So you're starting out pitcher hitter. Like I don't feel good about him being my second best hitter.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next guy here. And Mike, you are down on this guy, number 17 overall. I've got him right behind Lindor at 13, and Jason has him right behind Lindor at 11.
Wow.
We don't believe in Jorge Polanco. Tell us about him, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great season last year. I don't know what the Twins are going to be next year. I don't know if they're going to be anything or do anything. I see some regression here. I don't see him repeating this same type of season he just had. And to be honest, I like the potential of the guys that I have in front of him a little more. Honestly, I could see myself dropping Lindor even farther down personally and having Polanco a little above Lindor. But otherwise, I see everyone that I have ranked above him with more potential personally to do a little bit of everything.
I mean, listen, Jorge Polanco for whatever reason has this aura about him that somehow he's going to be like a 20 steal guy, forgetting for a minute that he's only ever stolen 13 in a season. Like he's fine, he's okay. I I don't know that I would necessarily like him as my starting shortstop. I think I'd prefer to have him at second base.
Hmm.
Right now he goes off the board 84th overall.
Mm,
So we're talking 6th round,
Yeah,
potentially your third or fourth best hitter.
that's
Yeah.
early for
It's early.
me.
that's
Very
that's
early.
early.
It's
That's
very
early.
early. What I don't even see how like he would even get traded either because he's pretty controllable, right? Let me take a look at his contract situation. Oh yeah,
He signed through 2023
Hmm.
mhm. With a
with
$12 million team option. I think you go ahead and take that
yeah.
because I don't think you can do better than that. So he's signed through 2025 to the Twins, and it's not like they're going to get worse. Their lineup is not as bad as you would think. Luis Ariz is a 300 hitter. Byron Buxton, if he plays 150 games, is like another dude who could be a 30-30 guy.
Right.
Polanco's in a nice spot in this lineup. Donaldson's a professional hitter behind him. Max Kepler, I don't know what that guy is. Mitch Garver, Miguel Sano, Alex Kirilloff, and something called a Trevor Larnach. I could see them going out and signing. Like, what if Michael Conforto ends up being their right fielder next year?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
wouldn't be a terrible addition. Like, this lineup isn't as bad as people think it is. It's
Yeah.
the pitching that sucks. Like,
Right.
that's a whole different.
Right.
I don't know. In the 6th round, I think I'd be out on that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. The next guy. You guys have him at 12 and 13 respectively. Jason at 12, Mike at 13. Get the hell out of here with Javi Baez. I have him at 18. Get out of here. He's moving to a worse. He's working. You realize that he's moving to a stadium that absolutely saps right-handed power. You realize this.
He can still hit the ball a long way though.
He can hit it a long way, and trust me, like he's gonna hit some moonshots that like people are gonna go gaga over. He does it every year, but like he had 31 this past year, 29 in 2019, 34 and 111 RBIs in 2018 when he was runner-up for the MVP. Like we've seen the best of this guy, guys, and now he's moving to a bad ballpark. Please come off him. I haven't even used the word strikeout yet.
or error.
Exactly.
I don't know. For me, like he's been playing with Miguel Cabrera, which he's got to do some favors, I would think. I have him at 12, so he's not in my top 10. But he can still hit. He can still run.
You think he should be a starting? You think he should be a starting shortstop in the bigs? Somebody should be starting him at shortstop every day.
Why not?
And ranking him 12th, like you're saying, okay, this is a starting shortstop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate to. If he goes out next year, right? You're banking on what? 25 homers and 15 steals.
Sure.
What if he goes out and hits like 17 homers? Are you mad?
If you draft him in the 6th round, yeah.
Depending on where I ended up drafting him. But like, where's he going now?
The 3-4 turn right there with like right after Franco.
Oh yeah, that's super early. I would not take him then.
No.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. The 4-5 turn. The 4-5 turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's still probably a little early. But honestly I can make a case for him being above Polanco, truthfully. But I'm not as afraid of him like as I am with like investing a top pick for some, because like if you look at the strikeouts and the errors, right, it's very comparable to Tatis. I'm not saying that he's Tatis, right, but the strikeouts and the errors.
I'll say he's a poor man's Fernando Tatis.
Yeah,
like he has been.
Yeah,
but
so like I'm okay taking that in the middle. I'm not. I don't know about taking the 150 strikeouts and the 25 errors at the top of the draft.
Yeah, I mean he's going right now at the 4-5 turn. Like that's gonna either be your second or third best hitter. It's that's a lot of strikeouts to take. That's a lot of errors to worry about. I'll
Definitely.
pass on this dude. The next guy we have here, you and I, Mike, have him at 14. Jason a little bit lower at 16, but we seem to like this guy at this same spot. Dansby Swanson of the world champion Atlanta Braves. Where do we feel? Jason, you're a little bit lower on this guy. Is that because he's a Brave and you hate him?
No, and I did move him down a little bit after I did my original rankings.
I saw that.
Yeah, I moved him down a bit. The 248 and the 311 average on base kind of put up a red flag for me more than I realized before. 167 strikeouts. That's a lot of fucking
It's a lot.
strikeouts.
It's a lot.
So I just, he's good. I just, and he plays every day. I just don't know what he's an enigma to me. I don't know what his floor or what his ceiling is.
Mike Haber, we've got him at 14. I have him 4 spots ahead of Javi Baez, and I don't necessarily have a case to make that he doesn't belong a little bit lower at this point. So I'm not exactly sold on Dansby Swanson. The 241 batting average, I'm sorry, 248 batting average isn't great. Are you feeling the same way about this guy?
Yeah, I agree with what Jason said too, that this guy is an enigma. Like before 2022, I probably wouldn't draft this guy. You wouldn't see me in 2021 ever putting this guy on my team. But you can't deny what he did last year when he got hot, and that he is capable of power and speed when he gets hot. That being said, he's ranked 14th on my list, so it is what it is with him.
Yeah, I have him in this group of like high strikeout guys, but that like all could return some really nice investments, and like I'll point those guys out. It does start with Swanson here at 14. It does end with Baez at 18. So there's 3 other guys that we're going to talk about that will fit this mold. We'll move on to the next guy here, and I'm the highest on him at 11. You guys have him at 18 and 20 for Mike. What's the lack of love for Jake Cronenworth? What happened here? Wasn't this dude like a sexy pick not too long ago? What happened?
He was. This is a guy for me that like he does everything good or well.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do anything great.
Okay.
And I can't rank him higher than some of the guys that have more potential to do greatness.
He's triple eligible at first, second, and short.
Mm-hmm.
He's going in the middle of the 8th round at 119th overall. Give me this dude. Give me this dude in that lineup.
I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at roster resource, and they have him pegged hitting third.
He's hitting third between Tatis and Machado. Are you kidding me? Give me this dude.
Yeah, I can move him up a couple of spots. I don't know that I can move him ahead of.
You got to move him ahead of Lindor. Like you've got to move him ahead of Lindor.
I can't do that. The upside of Lindor, what Lindor can bring power speed wise to me is greater than.
He's got to come above Swanson.
Yes,
he's got to come above.
I could probably move him above. I can move him above like Baez and maybe even Polanco, but I can't move him ahead of.
You just can't put him in the top 10.
No.
Okay, so he moves from 18 to 11.
Yeah, I can do that.
Mike Haber, what do I have to do to convince you?
He's not moving for me.
He's not moving. What's the argument against this dude?
Like as my starting shortstop, like I said, I want someone that's going to do a little bit of everything. I don't think he does. Like he's decent. He barely hit 20 home runs last year. He had 71 RBIs hitting in the same spot that you guys are talking about. He hit 266.
I don't think he was hitting in between Tatis and Machado all that often this past year. I'd like to find that out.
He was batting like towards the end of the season, second, third, fourth in the center of that lineup.
I mean, I do know that he was hitting at least second often enough because I did grab him toward the end of the year.
He did spend 65 games was the high watermark at batting third. He batted second and fourth 25
What were his
times.
numbers in that 55 game stretch batting third?
Batting third, he hit 278 with a 353 on base, 10 homers, 33 RBIs, 47 runs scored.
I'll take that. Stretch it out, triple all three of those numbers theoretically. Take a little bit off, and yeah. That's a 20 homer dude who's going to drive in like how many RBIs did he have?
He had 33.
That's 99. It's in the 90s.
This isn't real. Not real.
This is math.
This is math. We became a math pod. All right. Jake Cronenworth. I love him. Mike Haber hates him. We'll move on. The next guy we're going to talk about, interesting season from Willy Adames here. Jason, Mike, you both have him at 15. I have him a little bit lower at 17, but I feel like I'm going to have to move this dude up. I think he's the guy that has to go in front of Swanson for me because this dude is in a pretty advantageous situation. You like my vocabulary word, Mike Haber?
Well done, both
Thank
of you. Yeah, I'm impressed.
That's pretty anomalous.
This past season, 25 homers, 73 RBIs, a 262 batting average, 337 on base. 20 of those 25 home runs were in Milwaukee. Like that says all you need to tell me about this move to Milwaukee for him. You guys seem to like it too. Obviously, we've got him right around the same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the lineup that he's in. Right now he's pegged to hit second behind Yelich and Tellez. Renfroe's in there now too. I think he's in a great spot to really have a real standout season.
Where do you guys think he's going right now at NFBC?
I bet you people are down on it. People are thinking about him because you don't think he's not a sexy name. He's not the Lindors and the Tatises and the
Right. Over or under 9th round for Adames?
I think he's going later than that.
Yeah, I'm going to say later as well.
Okay. So he's going right in the middle of the 9th round.
Okay.
At 138th overall. It's an interesting number. And through 126 drafts, his high number has been 99, which if you do 99, that's like the 7th round, the early 7th round. The latest he's gone is 174th, which is the 11th round. So like it's somewhere in there. I think if you're getting him in the 9th, that would feel pretty good.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Okay.
I think so. And it's hard to measure this guy based on like my only fear and trepidation. You like the word trepidation?
Good solid vocabulary word.
Thank you. My only trepidation with him is like we have second half of last year to measure kind of like his success in Milwaukee. Everything before that, it's really hard to get an idea of like who this guy actually is. Because playing in Tampa Bay is like playing in San Francisco. Like you're not going to get playing time. Like you're not the guy. You're not the starter.
Well, in his defense, he was kind of the guy at shortstop for Tampa for two seasons. Like 2019, he played 152 games there. And then in the shortened season, 54. So like he
just didn't figure it out until Milwaukee. Is that it then?
I think that Milwaukee's a hell of a better park to hit in.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he did hit 20 home runs in 2019 for what that's worth.
Yeah.
Like,
Jason, can you pull up for me where he was hitting in the Tampa Bay lineup? Did you got that for Cronenworth so quickly? Because that's the one thing I do want to think about. Like, if Willy Adames is hitting like 7th or 8th in that lineup because they're just like jumbling it up all the time, or he doesn't have a steady role, I think that might play into it. Where hitting second in front of Christian Yelich is going to be nice.
Right.
I'm looking at 2019, which was his best season in Tampa, and it's all over the place. I mean, he only had 1, 3, and 5 games batting 1st, 3rd, and 4th. But he had 11 batting 5th, 20 batting 6th, 35 batting 7th, 28 batting 8th, and 49 batting 9th.
There's no stability there. There's no stability there, and the majority of them are at the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah.
Give me this guy for a pretty good season here.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next guy. And this guy I love. I really do. He's number 16 for me. He's right outside the top 15. Well, I guess now probably somewhere in the top 15 since I moved Swanson down. But number 14 for Jason, number 19 for you, Mike. Jazz Chisholm. Interesting that you have him all the way down at 19, just in front of Jake Cronenworth. Why are you so low on Chisholm?
I like Chisholm. I want to see another season of it. I've got Jason's brain right now with this. As far as like, I don't trust it yet. Some of his peripherals were a little scary for me. Some of the strikeout totals, the errors. I would prefer to have this guy as a second baseman, and that's just my preference. But
sure, I could respect having him as a second baseman. I mean, he was fine for me as a second baseman last year.
Yeah.
I do love the potential that I see here because in only 124 games, we got 18 homers and 23 steals. The strikeout numbers are ugly, but hell, this is a promising kid. This is the other half of the Zach Gallen trade. Like, you're gonna hit him second in this lineup. I like it. Jason, you like it too?
He's a young Javi Baez to me. You know, like he's gonna have the strikeouts, but the power is there and the speed's there. He's hitting right now. He's batting second in front of Avisar Garcia, Jesus Aguilar, Jesus Sanchez. Like, look, the Marlins are. I don't hate their lineup, so they're gonna score some runs, and he's gonna be right in the middle of it. I'm a little surprised that I have him higher than you. Honestly, I thought you were gonna have him higher than that.
Yeah, I mean the strikeouts and the errors. Like, he's 23, right?
Yep.
He's 23. He's going to be 24, actually, in a few days. But like, again, I'm just gonna like temper my expectations when it comes to him, with every understanding that like he could be just as huge as anybody else on this list. Like, the ceiling is so high for this dude.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's going in NFBC?
I would say he's going higher than like Adames.
You think he's going outside the top 140?
Earlier than Adames.
Oh, he's going earlier than Adames.
Earlier,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think he's going before? Now, I said Carlos Correa was going at 94. Do you think he's going before or after that?
I could see him going before, just because Correa isn't signed.
Okay.
True. Yeah.
All
but
right.
I still think I mean, personally, I'd take Correa over him any day of the week.
Yeah.
I would see Correa going before him.
Jazz Chisholm right now in NFBC is going 75th overall. That's the middle of the 5th round.
Oof.
Ow.
That's a heavy price to pay for this dude.
That's
That is a heavy price to pay.
For not even a full season. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah. The next guy I am 1,000% out on. I believe Jason is as well. You have him at 20, Jason. I have him at 21. Mike, he's a top 10 guy for you. Adalberto Mondesi? Talk to us.
Wow, you guys are really out on this guy. I mean, when he wasn't injured, when he was on the field, this guy, he can do a 15 homer, 40 to 50 stolen base season. He can do it. He can.
What evidence do you have that he can do that? Like, what evidence do you have that this dude could be a 2050 guy?
Do I have a full season of numbers for you? No, because this guy is injured every minute of every day.
Even the Kansas City Royals have said that this dude is not a major piece of their future because they can't depend on him.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Royals said it. Last I checked, he plays for the Kansas City Royals.
He does. He does.
I mean, roster resource right now has him batting 6th as the designated hitter in their lineup. Like, so he's not even taking the field, and he's hitting in the middle of the lineup, not at the top or even at the bottom where maybe he could run a little bit more, but they're expecting him to be in a run producing area, and that just doesn't sound right to me.
And the very obvious like bench that they're making here is not putting Carlos Santana at DH. So they're benching a guy that they're paying a good amount of money for to play this guy who might not play 50 games this year. He played fewer games in 2021 than he did in 2020. 2020 was percentage-wise his only like season above 60%.
He played almost every game in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't get in on this.
6 home runs, 24 steals in 2020.
Yeah. That's terrific.
with a 294 on base.
Yeah. He had 70 strikeouts and 219 at bats, Mike. That's over 30%.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, he's not that good.
He's
but
not that good.
He's had an on-base
Ceiling, look, I
percentage.
get it. Like the ceiling might be forever high, or he could just be Grady Sizemore. Like it's okay.
His on-base percentage. He's had an on-base percentage over 300 once. And that was 306.
I want to see where
I gotta drop my number 10 at 11 right
now. I want to see where Adalberto Mondesi is going. Holy Christ. 55th overall.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the middle of the 4th round. Are you really going to pay that?
I'm not going to draft him there. No.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll give him is he'll have third base eligibility. So there's that. But
who cares what eligibility he has when he's going to spend time on your IL?
Round.
Like you just know you're signing up for that, and you're signing up for it in the 4th round. Like in theory, you could go 1st round Ronald Acuna, 2nd round like I don't know who's a hurt pitcher that's coming back. Justin Verlander maybe. Like maybe you're able to get him in the 2nd. You do this clown in the 3rd. That's a great team. Moving on. The next guy, we're all right around the same area with this guy. 19 for me, 17 for Jason, 18 for Mike. Brandon Crawford. Nice season in San Francisco. I don't necessarily believe that he's going to repeat it. I could see a step back in playing time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on to the next guy because that's pretty much what we're going to do here. 21 for Mike, 25 for Jason, 22 for me. JP Crawford. Pretty solid season. Jason, I'll give you the floor to gush about another Mariner.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he's pegged to hit top of the order.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, I admit I probably have him a little lower than I should. I probably need to move him up because I think he's going to have a good season. You know my love for the Mariners lineup, and he's hitting on top of it. The on base is good. The power is decent. I wish he'd run a little bit more. That would be nice. But overall, he's a steady player. I could see him moving up my rankings. You know, definitely I can move him above like Mondesi.
Interesting. I have him right behind Mondesi. I feel like he could return better than Mondesi, but Mondesi's ceiling is much, much higher. JP Crawford's also going off the board at 323 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, 21st round.
Yeah,
interesting spot. Like you could totally do that.
Yeah.
He played 150 games last year. Like he's healthy. Like
you guys know Ben is going to beat us to this guy though, right?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not entirely sold that Seattle believes in him and that they might go out and like sign Correa or Trevor Story in order to fill that spot. So let's get to the season and see where his number really ends up.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next guy here. By the way, we had Crawford and Crawford back to back for what that's worth.
Sounds like a law firm.
Yeah. We all agree that this dude belongs in this spot too. Mike, you have him at 22. Jason and I have him at 23. Gleyber Torres. This is the last year he's probably going to be shortstop eligible unless he gets traded to somewhere that's going to play him every day. Mike Haber, I'll give you the floor on Gleyber Torres as the Yankee fan.
And I'm going to say right off the bat, this is the last year that he's on any of my lists unless he can prove that he belongs on our list because
what type? Okay, so he hit 259 last season after hitting 271 and 278 respectively in the 2 previous full years.
Yes.
Is that where you expect him to hit, or
he can hit 270? I'm fine with that.
Okay.
He can hit 265. I'm fine with that.
Is 259 just not acceptable?
Well, it's 259 paired with all the other
paired with a terrible power game, like
Yeah.
9 home runs, 22 doubles, only 50 runs scored and 51 RBIs. Like, I get that. What does this dude have to do, though, in the speed game in order to be a viable option in the Yankees lineup? He stole 14 bases. Look, the Yankees don't have a whole lot of fast base stealers.
Right.
What does this dude have to do to stick in this lineup and be that guy?
Well, here's the thing. You get Trevor Story, you're putting even more pressure on Gleyber Torres to like step it up and prove that he deserves a spot in this lineup. That's number one. Number two, the speed to me for Gleyber Torres is a bonus to what he should be providing, which is the power and the RBIs and the batting average. And he hasn't done any of that. So like the speed for me is not what keeps this guy in the lineup. It's you got to hit 20, 25 home runs. You don't have to repeat the 30 home runs you did a few years ago.
38.
38 home runs. Yeah.
38. And like 13 of them were against the Orioles, weren't they?
Yeah, and they moved the left field fence back, so like there's another 13 home runs gone.
I mean, right now he's pegged to hit 6th in the order, behind guys like Voit, Gallo, Stanton, Judge. Like, I don't know what that does for him, but I'm with you.
It just means more double plays.
I don't know.
It's a weird lineup too. Like the way that Roster Resource has this laid out, it's righty, 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 lefty, righty, righty. Aaron Hicks is Gleyber's protection, with Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela as the 8-9.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm sorry, Mike. This is a bad team. Like, this is not a good team.
You can't say it's a bad team, but
dude, come on.
It's a bad bottom of the order. Yeah.
Bad bottom of the order. Gleyber Torres, Aaron Hicks, Gary Sanchez, Gio Urshela. That's half your lineup.
Yeah, but the top half is very, very top heavy. You know, like it doesn't get much better than like DJ.
Judge Stanton Gallo is a pretty awesome trio of home run hitters who will strike out close to 200 times a season. That's last I checked, we had a bet that was similar to this. I would like to revisit it now.
We absolutely can.
You can have the field. You can have the field. I will guarantee you that those 3 guys, 500 at bats in the season, so 1,500 combined together. Judge, Stanton, and Gallo have more strikeouts than any 3 teammates in the league.
And you're giving me time to think about any team I can choose?
You can literally have the rest of the league.
Okay.
You can have the other 29 teams, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I don't necessarily believe that this isn't not just a trio of dudes who could hit 40 homers and drive in 100 runs, all 3 of them. But I think all 3 of them could strike out 200 times in a season. And let's see what happens at the end of the year. But
I'm going to keep saying Trevor Story because it's clear we do need another bat in this line.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Half the lineup is not good. They have to do something, and I'm scared that they're not going to. I don't know. We'll move on from the Yankees to a guy that used to be on the best team in New York. Mike, he's your number 28. Jason, 22. I have been 20. I like this dude. Ahmed Rosario. I happen to think that Ahmed Rosario was an interesting piece to be moved in that Lindor trade because, I mean, he's kind of Francisco Lindor light and had a really impressive season this past year. 282 average, 321 on base, 11 homers, 13 steals. It's interesting that if he's going to take another step forward at 26 years old, we could be seeing something here. But we certainly all agree that he's toward the bottom of the ranking here. Yeah. Jason, he used to be a Met. Let's talk about him as what we saw as Met fans.
Right. You know, I remember when he came up, right? He was supposed to be the next big thing, and you know, he was going to be the homegrown talent that we were looking for and be the centerpiece, and it just didn't happen. You know, but what Cleveland did was what the Mets were talking about doing, and never really did, was move him off of shortstop. They moved him to center field, and he just did better. I feel like he excelled Didn't have to worry about his defense at shortstop. He could run out in the grass, and he didn't have a great season by any means, but he didn't have a bad season. And
This wasn't a
like
bad year. This wasn't a
right.
bad year. He played
And like I said,
121 games at shortstop, but they did play him 18 games in center, so he will have that interesting double eligibility next year. Cleveland's not going to be very good. Let's be
No.
honest about that. They're rebuilding. They're going to move Jose Ramirez at some point. But it's an interesting lineup Roster Resource has here. Miles Straw at the top and Rosario at second, like in the 2-hole at shortstop. Mike Haber. It's an interesting duo in front of Jose Ramirez.
It really is in front of Jose and Fran Mil Reyes, right? I mean,
I love me some Fran Mail.
I know,
You
yeah.
know I
you
love
will.
me some Fran Mail.
Yeah. No, yeah, he definitely had a decent season. It's a little blah for me. I mean, if he was in a different lineup, I would say like, wow,
He's gonna
this
get every
guy-
opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
and like you said, he's 26. Like this is usually where guys start to really like if they're going to turn it on. This is when they're going to turn it on.
Yeah.
So he, look, he has a bust season. Forget it. He's done. But
Right.
but he certainly has the potential to have a breakout season.
Ahmed Rosario or JP Crawford? Like we have them. We have both of them at the same spot. Jason, you're much further. Or I'm sorry. We're all sort of on the same spectrum with these two guys. But realistically, who do you think is going later in the draft in NFBC? I told you what Crawford's doing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gotta
probably-
be.
I would think Rosario though, because like in Cleveland he's in obscurity. I bet you that he's going further.
What if I told you that Ahmed Rosario was going half as early at 165?
Wow.
Yeah, it's the 11th round, but like you're drafting that guy in the 11th round. That's your starting shortstop.
Give me him in like the 16th round. Like,
yeah, much later.
Yeah.
All right, 3 more here on the guys we agree are the top 25 at least. Brendan Rodgers clocks in here at number 23. Jason, you've got him at 31. Mike at 23. Me at 24. I'm willing to give this kid a shot. Like I'm willing to see if this is the kid that Colorado's finally going to believe in. Jason, you're the guy in Colorado, and you're the lowest on him. But don't we know?
Anything. We don't know anything about him really. I mean, he played 102 games last year, and that's really been it. Honestly, right now Roster Resource has him playing second. They have Garrett Hampson as the starting shortstop. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he is.
He's gonna hit second in the lineup apparently, like right in front of Blackman and Crone. I don't hate that. It is Colorado. Like, if he's gonna be the guy, if he's gonna be a guy in the lineup toward the top of that lineup, I do want to have that.
Yeah.
What if I told you he was going 160th overall, ahead of Ahmed Rosario, and that's obviously the 9-10 turn for us.
I would say there's some wacky people drafting right now.
Interesting, right?
All of us here in Denver, doing what we do here, and
Yeah, and when are the Rockies going to realize that Garrett Hampson is not a good baseball player?
Oh man,
when they have somebody else to play. I mean, like
they really don't. They have no prospects whatsoever.
No.
Like there's nothing coming, and they're a terrible franchise. They're an absolutely terrible franchise, and Trevor Story should be thankful he's out.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Second to last one is our old friend, Israeli kicker of Friends, Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Jason and I have him at 28, Mike at 29. I don't even know that this dude is now going to even have playing time, because where are we sticking him? We're putting him at third? Okay.
Yeah.
He proved himself last year, so it does suck, but
yeah, but then where does he hit in the lineup? Roster Resource has him hitting 9th.
Yeah.
I think I gotta drop this dude, because I mean I like what that could be. I mean, I have him at 31. Like I moved him off of 28 because
Does he
at the
still
moment.
have his catcher eligibility?
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
he's
so-
only. I think
Yeah.
he's only going to be third base eligible, but
He'll be third base and shortstop.
he's third base and shortstop. Yeah.
Yeah. Once the season starts, he'll get third base. But right now he's only shortstop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he played 156 games at short in 2021. Actually, he's only going to be short eligible.
Yeah.
He played
He'll get-
156 games at short. There, once he gets third base, obviously,
Yeah.
then it'll happen. But you know,
Yeah.
final guy on the list here, Miguel Rojas, 25 for me, Jason 30, and Mike 33rd overall. Miguel Rojas, leadoff hitter for the Marlins. Nobody likes that. You like Jazz Chisholm hitting second, but
I just never believed in Miguel Rojas. Like he kills the Mets, which I guess is something. But
I think he's a better baseball player than he is a fantasy baseball player. One of those guys.
yeah,
I think that's fair. I mean, he's never hit more than 11 homers, never stolen more than 13 bases.
Yeah.
But like, he just does stuff.
he's a streamer to me. Like
Yeah, I think so. All right, that concludes the top 25 that the three of us agree on. Next, we'll talk about a group of guys that both of you two have that I don't. Gio Urshela, Nikki Lopez, Luis Urias, Josh Rojas. Those four guys you guys all have somewhere in your ranking. Josh Rojas is probably a busted prospect that Arizona's stuck with after the Greinke deal. So I'm out on that dude. Urias, I don't know if last year was real, so I want to see it again. Nikki Lopez, you guys know how I feel about Nikki Lopez. We talked about this in the second base show. Like, come on, man. And Gio Urshela, like, if we like Gleyber Torres in the 20s, I don't understand how you can have Gio Urshela basically at the same spot, because one of the two of them I don't think is in the starting lineup on opening day.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, okay, so you're saying that first base is either Luke Voigt or some plantation, you like that word, of Luke Voigt, whether that's Olsen, Freddie Freeman, Anthony Rizzo, whoever it is.
Yeah.
That's locked up.
Yep.
Second base is DJ LeMahieu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shortstop is not going to be Gio Urshela, and it's probably not going to be Gleyber Torres. And third base is another question, like, who's there?
Well, if they don't sign anyone for the shortstop position, though, then Gleyber has to play short and Gio has to play third.
And if that's the case on opening day, I'm dumping them both even further lower, because this is not going, like, right now they have roster resource has LeMahieu playing third, Gio playing short, Gleyber playing second, and Voigt playing first.
Right.
It's
all going to change, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's all going to change. That'll be interesting. That's why I don't have him on. One guy that Mike and I both have that Jason does not. We talked about this when we first shot this episode, but obviously you guys aren't seeing that. Jason didn't have Chris Taylor on his list. He didn't know that he was shortstop eligible. Like, he didn't realize he played, like, I think 30 or 40 games there. No big deal. You'll get him in. Yeah. We'll redo this in the spring. Jason and I have three guys. Andrelton Simmons, is that Jose Iglesias, and Joey Wendell. Any of those three guys pique your interest, Mike Haber?
Absolutely not.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on. And now the guys that only one of us had. Do any of these guys pique your interest, gentlemen? David Fletcher, Didi Gregorius, Dylan Moore, Paul DeYoung, Elvis Andrews, Andres Jimenez, Jonathan VR, Nick Ahmed.
Of those, for me, the only one that has a little bit of intrigue would be Jimenez. If he can be, again, he's in kind of the same boat as Rosario, just
a little bit lower down. Mike Haber, any of those?
For me, the only one that would pique my interest is Jonathan VR. I want to see where he lands.
Yeah, that one could be interesting. And I have VR at 36, like he's the second to last guy right now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Jason Ashby has Kyle Farmer, Eugenio Suarez, and Alcides Escobar. Get me away from all three of those guys. Mike?
Is Alcides Escobar does he still play baseball?
He's the starting shortstop for the Washington Nationals right now.
And you know what? He was not terrible with them in this past season. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I would ever own him on my team, but like he's
But like
serviceable.
if you're needing a shortstop on a short day and he's got a game, like he's a human. He played
Yeah.
140 games, or I'm sorry, he played 75 games in 2021 for the Washington Nationals. Hit 288 with a 340 on base percentage.
I mean, it's not, you know,
It's not
it's not
nothing.
that.
It's not nothing. He's
Yeah.
gonna hit 7th in that lineup apparently. Like he's a person.
Yeah.
Then Mike, you have 4 guys here. One of them I will concede. Bobby Witt will be in the top, I would say 20 bare minimum by the time spring comes. I just have to see this and see where he's going. You have, I guess that's not Ramon Urias. No, that's nope. That one we both have. Gene Segura shows up, and so does Kike Hernandez. I didn't realize Kike was shortstop eligible. That would be interesting for me.
Yep.
I do want to make sure that he has shortstop eligibility. I would imagine if you've got him on, he has to.
I may have screwed it up, but we'll see.
He played 8 games there. And he started 4.
That won't.
I don't think that's going to make it. I don't think that's going to make it.
It's
So
10.
Kike-
It's 5 starts or 10 games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how Wander Franco didn't end up with second base eligibility. I think he started like 2 or 3 games there and played a couple of more, but he didn't make it. All right, let's talk about sleepers, breakouts, and busts and get out of here. We're going to start with a sleeper, a guy outside, let's say your top 15 that you think could return top 10 value. Mike Haber, let's start with you on this one.
I've got a deep, deep sleeper.
Ooh,
Not on
like
any of our
comatose?
lists.
Like comatose.
Comatose.
All right.
Like 20 years comatose.
All right.
A man by the name of O'Neal Cruz on the Pirates. Up and coming prospect here. Power speed combo, also gets on base and hits for average. And he did this at a AAA level. So it's not like this is nothing. And, you know, they are saying that he potentially is going to get playing time because is Ben Gamble the cleanup hitter on this team? I don't know.
Yeah. I just want to say he did make his debut this past year. Did play 2 games, got 9 at bats. So congratulations for making your professional debut,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neal Cruz. This past season in the minors, he was in, let's see, he was in AAA most of the year. Yeah, between AA and AAA, he played 68 games, 310 batting average, 17 home runs, 19 steals. So there's pretty good looking prospect. And look, Pittsburgh, they're probably going to have somebody be good again, right? Brian Reynolds was it in 2021. Why not this kid?
Yeah.
Jason, what's your sleeper?
My sleeper is also somebody who, like, look, I think Bobby Witt is probably everybody's sleeper, right? Like,
I don't think he's a sleeper. I don't think you can.
Well,
count
he's
him
not
as
in
a
their top
sleeper.
anything except for Mike, and he's gonna return value. Nico Horner on the Cubs. You know, he's pegged to play shortstop this year. He's finally gonna get playing time. He's been blocked each of the last 3 seasons that he's been with the Cubs. He's had some injury problems, which, you know, could be a thing, but he's only 25. I think with a full season, we could see something big from him.
All right, Nico Horner of the Chicago Cubs. I like it. Listen, can I say that like Ahmed Rosario is a sleeper?
Sure.
I think batting second in that lineup and excuse me, in front of Jose Ramirez, like I think that's a really prime spot. And you're going to be able to drive in some runs with Miles Straw in front of you. Like I think there's a path to success there. And Cleveland doesn't get very many things wrong. They're just incredibly cheap. So this team's going to be terrible, but I think Ahmed Rosario could be in for a good season.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a breakout, a guy in the list who could return top 5 overall value this season. Mike Haber, we'll start with you again.
All right, yeah, my breakout is Bobby Witt Jr. and there's no contest here. This is a guy that was hitting 30-30 at a AAA level, and we talked about Wander Franco last year and this year because he got the opportunity. If Bobby Witt got the opportunity last year, I could see him putting up similar numbers. Maybe not a 50-game on base streak, but with a power speed combo, I could see that. And I like him and Whit Merrifield's, kind of like hitting a top down lineup, and I
Gonna
could
be
see this
interesting.
guy being in the top 10, top 7 of shortstops.
This past year in AA and AAA, in 123 games, he hit 33 home runs, 29 steals, hit 290 with a 361 on base percentage. Gross. He had
Yeah.
35 doubles. He scored 99 runs. Like, this is not what's supposed to be happening at AAA. You're
No.
not supposed to see this, but this is the system we're living under. I love that for a breakout.
Yeah.
Jason, who's your breakout
Yeah.
candidate?
Yeah, again, he's definitely a strong candidate. But I'm gonna go with Willie Adames here. I think hitting a full season now in Milwaukee, away from Tampa Bay, that change of scenery thing is for real. In that lineup, I could see, I don't know that he's gonna have a mega season, but I think he's gonna put up a much better season than people are expecting from him.
All right. I am going to go ahead and go. I have to say Wander Franco, right? Like, that has to be my guy. I said that I would take him in the first round. Like, I'm absolutely on record that this is my guy, and I love what I see out of this guy. And obviously the Rays do too, and I trust that organization. If you're going to hand out a 12-year, $1 billion contract, like that you've hardly ever done before, like Evan Longoria is the only other one that comes to mind that they actually paid. So if they're paying this guy, they believe in this guy. Give me this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about a bust, though. Guy you want to stay away from, Mike Haber. Who is it this year?
Oh man, Jason's gonna hate me. Okay, and I said this earlier, Trey Turner is an incredible player, but for where he's being drafted, I would consider him a bust if he doesn't replicate the power numbers he put up last year, and I don't see him replicating those. So if you get him in the top 2-3 picks of the entire draft, I think that's a bust. I could see him regressing back to 10, 15 home runs, and like his average, we know his batting average is going to be great, but like top 3 pick, I don't think so.
Bold
Yeah.
statement from Mike Haber. I can't say that I disagree with it. Like I said, every single shortstop comes with a question mark this year, and Turner's one of them. I like it. For where you have to draft Trey Turner, he's got to return a 310 plus batting average. He's got to hit 20 plus homers. He's got to steal 30 plus bases. It's a lot of variables here. Like, I think he could do it.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of realistic expectations where he doesn't. Jason, who are you avoiding this year?
So look, if I say Fernando Tatis, am I going to be put at the stake again?
No, sell us on it.
Yeah, because I don't know. Again, I don't know how deep this shoulder issue that he has is. That gives me a red flag. But look, I've said enough about Tatis. My actual bust is going to be Tim Anderson. I think he's going high up, and I don't feel like he does anything great to warrant where he's currently going, especially in these drafts you're talking about. He's just kind of mediocre. So I could see someone paying a high price for him, knowing that he's hitting atop of the White Sox lineup and becoming very disappointed.
Interesting. I don't know, man. Tim Anderson has never put together more than 125 games in the last 2 seasons, and yet still put up 17 and 18 and 18 and 17. So if you extrapolate that out, that's probably 25-25 with a good batting average. I like it, but I can understand a world where you think, you know what, like this is the season this dude takes a step back, or he misses more time than what he already has been over the last few years. It's an interesting one. I'm going to go ahead. I don't think I can top Mike Haber saying Trey Turner. Like I can't go over the top with that because the only over the top is Tatis. But I really don't like Trevor Story outside of Colorado at all. I don't like it at all. And I don't think there are a whole lot of landing spots that I would like to be in on him where I would need to be in on him. The Yankees might be the only other spot. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go ahead and say Trevor Story for my bust this year. And that brings us to the comeback player of the year at this position. Mike Haber, let's start with you here on this one.
Yeah, well, we already spent some time hammering away at this guy. Originally I had Adalberto Mondesi, hoping he'd, put together a full season and prove all the naysayers wrong. But, here's to hoping. It's either him or it's Eugenio Suarez, a guy that he's terrible. Okay, he had a horrible year last year.
Suarez.
Yeah. But he was it 2019 or 2018? He hit 50 home runs. I think
he hit 49 home runs in 2019 while hitting 271. He hit 34 home runs in 2018 while hitting 283. He then went ahead and hit 202 in 2020 in 57 games. And, oh no, that's 2020. That can't be real. Oh, he hit 198 in 145 games this past year, but he still hit 31 home runs.
Yeah, and we're talking comeback player, right? So if he hits 240 and can hit 35, 40 home runs, is that nice for a shortstop? Yeah.
Yeah. This will be the only other year you're going to have him at shortstop because he's not a shortstop. He proved he's not a shortstop because he was terrible at it. Where's he going? Where's he going right now? He's going 208th overall. That's 12-13 turn.
That's
or 13,
way ahead
14,
of
13,
way
14.
ahead of JP Crawford.
Yeah. I suppose. Jason Ashby, who do you have as comeback player of the year?
Yeah, so I had Mondesi as somebody also, but I'm gonna go with my guy Francisco Lindor. Like I think he is a prime candidate for a comeback season because what he put up last year was not typical Lindor. And again, I think he's got a better cast of characters around him, both on the field and in the dugout. And we know that's not a Lindor type season, so he has to do better than that. I'm going with my guy Lindor.
All right, I mean, you're going to stand by your man, and you're going to stand by that Met for as long as you possibly can. The thing about it is, like, there are not a whole lot of guys who had down years at this position. Like, a lot of dudes had some pretty good seasons. All of that being said, there weren't a whole lot of guys who missed a lot of time either. And Cory Seeger goes out and goes ahead and signs like this $1 billion contract with the Rangers, having only played 95 games the previous year. He's a candidate. I could see that being the type of guy that gets this kind of accolade. If Mondesi could put together 100 games, that would be tremendous. And he might win it just on that.
Yeah.
Xander Bogaerts didn't exactly have a good year in 2021, did he? Is that the
for his standards? No. For anybody else, he had a good season.
No, I don't like that either. I don't think that's the right answer. I could see a world where Javi Baez is the answer, but I'm not going to put that down as my lock either.
You could go Glaber, Joe.
I'm not going to do that. That would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous.
Here's one. Here's a dark horse one. Didi. I mean,
I was just looking at him, and if they don't end up like bringing up Bryson Stott or signing somebody, like that could be the answer.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and I don't want to say any of these names. They all suck. I don't know. I don't want Brandon Crawford either for what that's worth on my bust list. Yeah, I'll go with Jonathan VR. Maybe he like signs somewhere where he can get playing time and he makes a great comeback. I'll go VR.
All right.
Guys, I think that'll do it for us this time by. I thank you so much for going through what we went through to start this show. And Jason Ashby, thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking time.
Absolutely, Joe. It's always a pleasure talking baseball with you guys, especially in our current situation. This is a real pleasure. So happy to do it.
Mike Haber, thank you for staying up late on the East Coast with us. Appreciate you sticking around with us.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. And if there's anything worth staying up late for and being exhausted at school the next day, it's baseball with you guys.
Damn right. I love hearing that. Folks, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click that red button below and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and ring that bell so that you know exactly when we upload. For those of you listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor, or any other streaming platforms that we're on, thanks for listening. Go ahead and subscribe to us if that's an option. Go ahead and give us a review if you can. If you can't, give us 5 stars on Spotify. I sure do appreciate seeing those. Follow us on TikTok. We put up the bloopers from every episode on that, as well as our Instagram. Both of those are It's the Bigs Podcast. I think that covers everything that we need to right there. Guys, once again, thank you. And to everyone there, thank you. It's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the Bigs. We'll see you next time.